Hey guys, what's going on? DuffKing56 here, back with another Super Monday Night Combat commentary, and today I'll be playing with Combat Girl again. This is actually the game after the last one that I showed you. This one's actually a pretty good game. We end up pulling off the win in the end, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I have a pretty rough start, but I come back. We end up actually progressing pretty far in the game, as you can see in the time below. This commentary should last around 26 minutes or so, depending on how long I'm willing to speak. Hopefully I can fit 26 minutes of talking in here, maybe a little bit less. We shall see, but without further ado, I'd like to continue our commentary from last time. This is part 2 about Is Reading and Writing Dead, and I'm going to do writing today, and this should be the end of the commentary series. Like, it was like a 2-part series, but it's still technically like a mini series. But either way, we'll kick it off, and I'll start out with my blunt answer, and that is no, writing is not dead. Has writing shifted from, a different sort of method that's more common than the traditional way? Yes, definitely. I believe that writing, although it's changed and it's in a very vastly different medium, using different media, the difference between medium and media, but it's using different media, and although it's vastly different from the tradition, I still think that it's going in an interesting, unique direction. I think that's kind of something that people have to look at, and that they tend to look over, when they give their little spiel about texting and writing's going down the drain. Look at this grammar. Look at these words. They're not even words anymore. First of all, let me say that I'm in no means a traditionalist. I'm not one to stay in the old ways. I'm one that takes a more progressive approach. Like, it's not like I'll hop on the next newest and biggest thing right away, but I'll definitely give it a try, or at least research it to the point where I feel sated, whether or not I want to either incorporate it into my life or not, or if I was a teacher, I'd do the same thing if I were to incorporate something into my classroom. But that being said, there is some sort of security with writing before the pre-information age, the pre-technological age that people love to preach that we're in now. But I do feel that you're engaging yourself no matter what you're doing in writing. And what do I mean by this? Like, when you're texting, you're writing. When you're talking, you're writing. In a way, it may be a little more abstract or conceptual to you. It might be like a different sort of concept, but like, hear me out. All right. Okay, so when you're texting, right, what are you saying in your head? You're saying words in your head. What do you do when you type on the computer? It's the same thing. Like, you're saying words in your head, you type it down. What do you do when you write? Or at least what I do. You say words in your head, and then that's what is going to go on the paper. So if you think about it, like, regardless of what media you're using, you're still writing in a way. Like, right now, I may not be thinking of words in my head, but I feel like this is a platform on which I'm writing to you guys. Like, I'm telling you a story. I'm talking about a certain topic. This is what I'd be writing on a piece of paper. Maybe in a different style of language because I'm writing on a different medium, but like, this to me is like writing an essay or like giving a dissertation. Like, this isn't what, as official as a dissertation, but like, I'm for lack of like a cliche image, like, there's like, like a whiteboard in my mind that has like words on it, and subconsciously I am relaying them. I'm transmitting that word to you, those words and sentences and paragraphs and essays to you. And it's like the same thing as if I were writing on a piece of paper. Now, the same thing when you're texting, even though it's in a different sort of language, like as we talked about, before, you're still engaging in some sort of, cerebral process where there's some sort of thinking involved when you're writing, and I would have to say that when you're texting, like I said before, you're almost engaging your mind twofold, because you're not only reading and interpreting, you're writing and interpreting, but you're writing and you're coding in your text language. Like, think of anyone on your contact list, right? Just look at your contact list. If you're going to text your mom or your dad, and if you're like me, I'm going to text them in proper English. Or if I were to text a friend that I am more like on a formal basis with. Now, if I were to look on my contact list, like different friends of mine, like really good friends, my texts look nothing like English, because it is our little code, you know. And I would venture to say that in order to write a text message, you're probably engaging yourself more when you're coding your own language to send to your friend than you are when you're actually writing a topic sentence for a paragraph, or when you're writing a conclusion. That's to say, like, the process, like the thinking skills that go into coding, you know, language. Now, say you're writing a research paper, you're writing a reflective, opinionated paper, it's probably going to end up being around the same sort of involvement that you have with the text, because you have to think about what you're writing. You have to think about what you're texting. Honestly, I find myself thinking about what I'm texting more because of the nature of texting, and, you know, because you're not, you don't have a face to talk to. I'm thinking more when I'm texting others than when I'm actually writing, like, an essay. Like, I wrote 4 papers today, okay? In about 2 hours. I wasn't thinking at all. You know, I had an idea for what the topic, the thinking, the whole quote-unquote like planning period that people tell you to do with your papers. For me, on shorter papers, it's like a 5-minute like collect your thoughts and think about what you're going to write, because that's just how I write. But I'm still engaging in some sort of writing when I'm texting, and like I said before, I think, you know, you're even engaging more so when you're using text language. So that's something to think about. I think that was pretty interesting when I was mulling it over in my mind, you know, when I was thinking about what to talk about here. And another thing I'm going to reference is that, you know, the whole idea of like this changing sort of modality of how you're presenting your writing too. Like, sometimes I present my writing in voice, so I'm doing like what my teacher would call podcasting right now. I just call this commentary because that's all it is. It's really informal. You know, podcasting to me sounds like something more official, something more global, more like topic-based. I mean, I guess commentaries are topic-based, but I don't think this is podcasting at all. I think podcasting is something that is like a half hour to an hour and a half long, and it kind of addresses multiple points, and normally done with more than one person. Podcasting, like I said, I'm generalizing, and I could sort of get into the dichotomous relationship between commentary and podcasting later if you want. But like right now, I am writing to you with my voice, and it's kind of hard because I'm not writing, I'm speaking, obviously. But you know, to me, writing and speaking are really personal. Like, I have a very personal style of writing, a very personal style of speaking. That's why I don't sit here and kind of regurgitate some sort of script to you guys like some other people do. You know, I thought about this maybe for 5 minutes in the car and zoned out for the other 20 and looked for cops. Because I was driving home, and the 290 is riddled with police. But either way, that's besides the point. But see, like, right now I didn't rehearse this, you know, there's no script for this. This is just, I had like 3 bullet points somewhere hidden in the archives of my brain, and I'm sort of trying to cover them as best as I can with you guys. So in a way, I'm writing, and that's kind of what I wanted to try to portray to you guys. There's so many different ways to write than just pencil and paper. But think of bloggers too, think of journalists. You know, they're writing pencil paper, but they're putting their stuff online, and they have to write it in a certain sort of style or fashion so that it is sort of universal to anyone reading it. Because, you know, nowadays you can read any sort of blog with like Google Translate or anything. You want to make sure that your language is sort of more, not common per se, but it's not rife with colloquialisms of your language. So you have to sound, you know, a certain way. You have to write a certain way, and in and of itself, you're engaging your writing differently. And I would argue that is not dying at all, like sort of the blogger style, more informal type of writing, not like sentence, you know, not like the hamburger style essay where your buns are your topic and your conclusion, the meat and all the crap is the body. But I would say that you're engaging yourself more when you're writing in a style that isn't formal, because I would say that like everyone's first sort of inclination when they start writing is to write in some sort of 5-paragraph or 3-paragraph essay because of how we're brought up in school. And that's kind of another thing I want to talk about is kind of the sort of this resistance to this multimodality form of writing. Right now, I'd rather do this than write a final paper. I'd rather talk for 2 hours about a topic covering something that I've studied extensively than write an 8-page paper about it. Just because I'm more at home with the style. Like, this is more me. I'm activating parts of my brain that I think I've developed more than others, and sort of doing this for the past 2 years. And even though I've been writing all my life, I feel like I've always had such a personal style of writing where I'm actually like talking to the reader, or at least I'm sort of referencing the reader in some sort of personal way where they come off with more of a meaningful experience with it. Now, not to get too philosophical about my writing, I just feel like that it's important to cite, how I feel about it. And like, this isn't some sort of, this is me just talking out of, I'm just talking. And I'm also rambling, I'm trying to get myself back on task here. But like I said, writing is not dying, even though it might have moved to the side like reading has, Like, we're not writing in the same style that you write a letter to like a pen pal like 50 years ago. Right now we're writing to express our feelings, our emotions, our passions, our goals, our futures, our woes, our joys, everything in life. We almost have some sort of narrative. Wow, really narrative? We have some sort of self-narrative that we kind of incorporate into blogging and writing nowadays with like commentary and diaries, like journals online and stuff like that. We have some sort of more of a human element to our writing, and the fact that now we can spread over all these mediums, and that's like the coolest part of it. I think that writing may not be evolving insofar that it's getting better. Like, people are becoming more formal writers, and their college style writing is very strengthened now. Like, we can start doing college writing in high school. Like, I don't really give a shit about that. I don't really think that's happening. But what I think it is we are advancing writing over this universal platform that everyone can connect to and that everyone can enjoy, and we're on some sort of common platform. I use platform twice in the same like thinking line, but that's okay. We're on like some of this ground, with this common ground with everyone that we can connect to immediately. Like what I do with these, and that's where I want to connect it. Like, what do I do with my commentaries? I put my voice on games, okay? Now, people that watch me, I don't know many people that watch me that don't like video games because we have some sort of common ground together. Like, when you come onto this video, you expect to, besides like the rare vlog that I may do like once in a blue moon, you're going to expect to see some sort of game. You're going to expect to see me playing some sort of game, or some sort of live me playing game, whatever. That's because I automatically connect with you on this ground, right? This video game that you're watching. Regardless of whether you played it or not, you still feel connected, right? Because it's a video game. My style of gaming. Sometimes I like the FPS, sometimes I like the over-the-shoulder, sometimes I like the RPG, sometimes I like racing, sometimes I like fighting. But regardless of the genre, we're connected right now. That sounds really weird. We're connected right now on this video game right now. So it's almost like I've broken the ice with you guys. Even someone searching me in YouTube or finding me, they're going to see the game, and if they're a video gamer, they're going to say, oh, look, he's playing this game, or oh, look, I've heard about this game. I've already broken the ice. So now, not like my voice is so much more significant now, but like, because we've made this connection, at least if you're not asking questions, you're going to want to listen to what I have to say. And if you don't, then you click off the video, And that's the beauty of it. I'm not forcing you to watch this. I'm not forcing you to comment. But wouldn't it be awesome if we could share a discussion about the topic while you're watching a video game that you enjoy? Or, wouldn't you rather have some sort of personal connection with someone who shares the same interests as you, and you can talk about whether or not you guys are interested in education or in literacy or in reading or writing? We can still connect on the fact that it's a video game. And that's so cool to see, like, the dichotomy of comments that I get on my videos. Sometimes that I get comments about the video game itself. Other times I get comments about the topic. And that's the beauty of it. I can respond on 2 different levels to do 2 different types of people. And if you want to even split that up further, you have the people that enjoy the commentaries, people that don't enjoy the commentaries, people that are neutral, so there's 3. And then it's the same thing for game. People that enjoy the game, people that don't enjoy the game, people that are neutral to the game or never heard of it before. So you're automatically able to connect with 6 different people, and all those different people have different personalities. And that's why I say that writing's not dead, because we're able to reach this global audience when we do these things, these multimodal type mediums. You know, we're able to reach everyone, and I think that's just the coolest thing, just being able to throw up a piece of, not throw up like that, like literally like take it like physically and like throw it up against the wall. Toss it against the wall, you know, and to throw this video in the void and just to see, you know, who consumes it. And the cool thing about YouTube is, like, people can subscribe, so you have the people that are commenting to you all the time on your videos, and they can come on, and you know that they have this certain sort of personality with them, and they'll comment the same way, or they'll comment a different way because you brought up a different question, or, you know, a different commentary topic or whatever. And I think that that is so cool. And to reference another, like, type thing about video, like autobiographies almost, someone made a commentary and they said that, like, when I get old, you know, I'm not going to write an autobiography. I'm going to show them my YouTube channel. You know, and this was my legacy. You know, this is me. This was me from the year 2009 to 2000 and however long I do this. You know, and whether it be the gameplay commentaries from 2010, or the Rock Band videos from 2009, or the Final Fantasy LP that spanned the past 2 years, or maybe it's going to just be me talking to a camera about this stuff in a year or in 2 years, or maybe I even start another channel for, like, my classrooms where I give my lectures on video, like, as supplemental resources for the students to access. But that is like my writing. That is what I'm putting down on paper. And my paper is the video. And I think if we just think about writing, not so much as a practical sort of experience or tool or whatever, we look at it more as like a dynamic process, or like some sort of investigation that you do with your mind and with your audience. Because ultimately that's all that matters, is who's reading this, the author and his audience. You have a relationship, right? Or you try to forge a relationship as the author to the audience. And if you do an effective job of that, then your audience will be responsive, and your audience will enjoy your writings, you know. And like I said, writing's not dead. Writing is not dead. Writing is not dying. Writing is not going downhill. Writing is flourishing in an environment and in a cultural sort of movement to this global, I say this all the time, but this interconnected sort of multimedia world where your audience is everyone, and your audience is everyone that has something in common with you. And if you've made it this far, thank you. I just realized I've been talking for like 19 minutes or 18 minutes. This is a long time. You know, the other one was like 12 minutes long, or however long it was. I'm realizing this is 6 minutes more, and I still have 8 to go. I apologize. It's like that one of those self-realization moments that you have when you're talking, that you sound like a broken record, but you do realize that you've actually gotten through a lot of material. So I apologize for that. I apologize. Let's get back on the topic here. So, you know, where does writing stand now as far as, like, the negative view? You know, how can we improve it? Well, I think one thing we can improve is our awareness about these other types of languages and these common sort of platforms that people share, these circles, as if you were using Google+, that's what you would call it, these different circles. Now, we can reform the individual circles as much as we want, right? The respective circles. I can reform text-speak to a certain point. I can reform formal writing to a certain point. You can only learn so many laws, so many different rules before you've learned everything for that circle. And you really can't encroach on others' circles. So this is where I'm kind of getting into why people are so critical of it now. That's because people are blending these circles of writing, right? the people that are handing in homework with text speak. Like, that's a no-no, first of all. Like, that's just common sense. No, but see, people are trying to incorporate formal high school, college writing with something completely different. You can't do that. Like, your audience isn't someone on your contact list. Obviously, it's a teacher, someone who demands more respect, someone who should have more respect, you know? So you should write in a respectful, formal tone, especially if you're in college too, because you never know what happens to your work in college, especially if a teacher wants to use it. You know, whatever, shit happens. So you're going to want to reach out to that circle when you're doing an assignment. So that's why I think people are so critical of writing, because they don't realize that there isn't one form of writing that's like canon. You know, there's different forms of writing that span out across a infinite amount of mediums. So that's why I think everyone's gut reaction is, "Oh, writing's dead. It sucks because Johnny said you instead of YOU." You know, in his writing to me. But I think what you need to do there is you need to tell people that there is some sort. There's no gray area between these circles. There's formal writing. There's text speak. There's audio. You know, there's some circles of audio. Like, there's audio where it's extremely informal, or there's audio where it's more formal, like right now. Like, even like I said, I didn't prove it, but like, I believe that this is a form of writing. You know, I believe that people should think of this as more of a form of writing, because, you know, what are you writing down in your heads when you listen to me? You're not, unless you've tuned me out, you're thinking of the words that are coming out of my mouth, and they are transmuted into letters. And that's actually kind of something I also want to go into here, just in the last 4 minutes or so. If our language and all of our languages weren't founded on arbitrary rules, then you can say that writing is dying or it's degenerating, because our language right now is based on a bunch of laws and principles, right? There's like syntax and grammar, and our letters, okay? The letters are fine in themselves, but you have all these irregularities and special rules and stuff like that that evolve with the different types of language that you're using. So our languages are completely arbitrary, right? Now, think of it this way. A horse and a foal, right? A horse is, let's see, H-O-R-S-E, a 5-letter word. Foal is a 4-letter word. Horse starts with an H, foal starts with an F. You know, horse has 2 consonants, foal has 2 consonants, but the vowels are different. O-R-S. No, 3 consonants, 2 consonants, and then 2 vowels each. Now, a foal is a baby horse, I'm not mistaken. I think, yeah, it's foals. But, you know, that's, if we wanted a language that wasn't arbitrary, we would have, say, horse, just for example, is A, 5 A's. And since a foal, it can be classified as a smaller type of horse, like a baby, so it's a lesser form of horse, then a foal would be A, 4 A's. So there's some sort of rule that isn't arbitrary and never changes. It's not completely different. That, and I did a bad job of explaining this, but you know, there's a rule, and it extends over all things. So say all barnyard animals start with A. So cow may be A, B. You know, and then chicken is like A. You know, but it's not in our language, right? So if writing were devolving, I would say if this was a non-arbitrary language, then yes, writing is devolving. You can't say you and you know, if that goes with the same law. But since our language can be morphed and changed, and it's plastic, you know, our language is plastic in essence. And since it is, how can it possibly devolve as opposed to morphing or evolving or changing, sliding, flipping, flopping into some sort of different arbitrary language that at least the people in their respective circles can understand? Think of it that way. You know, that's a great way to think of it. So honestly, no, I can't say if reading's dying. I don't think it, or writing, excuse me. Writing, it's not dying. I don't think it is because of that fact. You know, our language is arbitrary no matter how you cut the cake. You cannot disprove that our language is is not arbitrary. Is arbitrary. Can't disprove that. And then, like, that is a pretty concrete example that should springboard you into inquiry about, well, if it's not dying, then what is it doing? And, like, this is just my take on it. So, you know, just take it as it is. Let me know what you guys think. Wow, it's been a while. I actually think this is a pretty good com. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. You know, I really do have strong opinions on this, so if I sound impassioned or if I contradicted myself, let me know. You know, I love feedback, I love discussion, and talk to me. You know, I don't care how many posts it takes to get your point across. I will respond to you with an intelligent response. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like the video, then just tell me. You know, leave a comment, discuss. Let's get into a discussion. Let's have a little talk. You know, we gotta have a little talk, subs. So, have yourselves a great night, or morning, or afternoon, depending on the time zones, since I'm reaching everyone on this global platform. This has been DuffKing56. Have a great night. Peace out. Bye.